Today I'm going to be showing you how to record an entire video and edit an entire video for your YouTube channel. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to get into the big three, at least what I call the big three, and that's going to be PLS. And then we're going to go ahead and get into importing all of your video project raw footage into your computer and how that looks like for me on my laptop. And then we're going to go from start to finish on editing your entire video using CapCut. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Chrissy Walker. I help new content creators make better content, get more subscribers, and make more money online. So if that sounds like your jam, feel free to subscribe to my channel and we can be friends. The first thing we're diving into is going to be the big three. Now, in my opinion, from my experience, this is going to be the most important part about you trying to create a very high quality looking video or semi-professional looking video. Now, the three things that we're going to get into is going to be PLS. Please. That's going to be positioning, lighting, and sound. When it comes to positioning, you want to be sure that the subject of your video is centered. And depending on the niche of your channel, you're going to distance yourself from your camera accordingly. So what I mean by that is if you have a more intimate niche, so maybe it's something that has to do with like dating, maybe you're an online dating coach, it would make sense for you to be a little bit closer to the camera, especially if you're giving tips and you're trying to demonstrate how to maybe maintain eye contact or how to communicate with someone properly. When it comes to like communication or being in a niche that just requires you to be more intimate with whatever the niche is, it's okay for you to be closer to the camera. So let's say I'm like this close. I could be this close because I'm a dating coach. I could be this close because I give tips on how to communicate properly, stuff like that. If you are trying to make talking head videos and you're more of just like a different niche other than one that's intimate, then maybe being about an arm's length away from the camera would be a good distance between you and your actual camera itself. So when you're filming yourself, put your arm out and then measure that and then film from there. Now, that's gonna be for most niches. Typically, if it's just you talking directly to your camera, but if you are more of in a setting like video podcast setting, or if you are trying to include someone within a conversation instead of just you being there, maybe there's two people in your video, maybe being a little bit further out would be more ideal. So maybe 5 to 6 feet away. So that distance is going to create more of like a social environment. So if you're doing a video podcast and you're trying to include the viewer into the experience, then being about 6 feet away would be perfect from between you and your camera. Now, if it's just you and you're talking to your audience and you're talking to the camera, then arm's length away is going to be perfectly fine. Also, when it comes to positioning, you want to be sure that you are in the center, especially for most people, you're probably going to be talking directly to your camera and it's probably going to most likely be just yourself. So if that's the case, make sure you center yourself. It's going to look awkward if I'm sitting like maybe on this side and I'm talking to you and I'm trying to make a point, but it's just like I'm off, or even if I'm on this side, or if like I'm lower, or if I'm too high, my head is cut off, it's going to look awkward. So in the frame itself, what I would recommend to do is turn on your grid. Now your grid, what that is it's going to be basically 2 lines horizontally and 2 lines vertically. So it's going to look like that. When you add your grid in, you want to be sure that the subject of your video, is in the center, and you want to make sure that the space behind you is even on both sides. Now, not only that, what I like to do is I like to make sure that my eyes are at the top line and then my shoulders are in the bottom line. Now, if you're an arm's length away, you should be able to fit in the frame how I'm describing it. Now, if you're a little bit further, then it's going to line up a little bit differently on the grid. But if you're an arm's length away, then it should be about this. Now, make sure you're centered, make sure that you have space in between or even space on both sides of yourself. Make sure your eyes are meeting the top line and your shoulders are meeting the bottom line, and then you're good to go. So take that into consideration when you are positioning yourself on the camera. And another thing when it comes to positioning is if you're using natural lighting, you want to be sure that the lighting is coming from one side of the camera. So you don't want to put the light, like let's say you're using a window and the light source is coming from the window. You don't want the window to be directly behind your camera, and you don't want the lighting to come directly like face front to you. You want to be a little bit angled, and I can show you what that looks like, but you want to be a little angled, or you want the window to be on one side of the camera behind your camera, like how I have right here. I'll go ahead and show you a demonstration of that. But as you can see here, my window is over here. I do have a softbox lighting on the right hand side of my camera, but when it comes to the window, I have it on one side. I don't have it directly behind the camera, because if you have it directly behind your camera, then it's going to create this flat look on yourself when you're filming, and you don't want to look too flat. You want a little bit of dimension to your face, like you want the shadows to kind of blend in nicely. So having the window on one side of the camera would be ideal. Or if you're filming directly right next to the window, what you can do is you can angle yourself a little bit. So let's say the camera here is the window. What I would do is I would put my camera like right here, and then I would go ahead and just angle myself like 45 degrees to the right or to the left, whichever way you want to face. And then you're gonna be filming yourself, and the lighting is gonna be coming in from this way, and it's still gonna look very nice and complementary to your facial features. And so that's another way of taking positioning into consideration when you're setting up your camera and setting up where you're going to be standing. Another thing is lighting. So lighting is so important when it comes to making your videos look as quality as possible or to the best of your ability. You don't even need a good camera, honestly. You can just use your phone, whether if it's an iPhone or an Android, you can use that. If you have a cheap camera that's like $300 off of Amazon, that'll probably work as well. As long as you have good lighting, your video can actually stand out pretty well. So for me, what I like to do is if I don't have my softbox, I will utilize the natural lighting from the window. And just like I had mentioned, the positioning, you want to make sure that you're positioned in a certain angle so that your facial features are highlighted very nicely and it doesn't look too harsh, and your face doesn't look flat or anything like that. So position yourself in front of the window appropriately, or if you want additional assistance with making the lighting look a little bit more softer, you can go ahead and get a softbox lamp, which is going to be linked in my description below. The softbox lamp is going to help so much with making you stand out from your background. So as you can see, the background looks a little bit dim, but me, I am vibrant and I'm forthcoming, and you can tell just by looking at the image itself or this frame that there's dimension to my video. And you can tell that I'm the center of attention, or I'm supposed to be the focus of the video. Your eyes are supposed to be on me, and your eyes meet on me because the background is dimmed out, it's a little blurred out, and the lighting is just highlighting me as the subject. So lighting is gonna play a huge role with improving the quality and the look of your video, because it's going to highlight the subject, which is going to be you essentially. So when it comes to lighting, either use a window, use the natural lighting, or you can get softbox lighting. Don't use your like your main lights in your home. So typically in your home, there will be a light on the ceiling or like kitchen lights. You don't want to use those lights because they tend to be a little bit too harsh and they don't really bring too good of soft lighting to you. So the best bet for you is either softbox lamps, which again is linked in the description below, or if you don't have the money for that right now, using the window is going to be a game changer for you. So use one or the other. I wouldn't recommend any of your main lights in your home. Now, when it comes to sound is going to play a huge role on the quality of your video yet again. If you're watching a video and it has bad audio, most likely you're gonna wanna scroll past it, or you're gonna wanna just ignore it. If you have a bad sound, if you have bad audio, you have a bad video. So be sure that you invest, if there's anything that you invest in first, invest in your audio first. Now for me, I have the Deity Pocket wireless mic, and I love it so much because I can use it on my phone and my camera. Now it is wireless, so what you will do is, I will actually record this, but what you have is you have your receiver, which is going to be where your audio is going to actually sync into your camera. So as I'm filming, you can see that if you look at like the audio levels and stuff like that, it's not on, but on the screen, typically it'll show you like the audio levels. You can tell that the camera is picking up, or the mic is picking up the audio, or whichever. You can tell that my audio is being picked up because the levels will be moving around. And that's just an indicator that the sound is being picked up through the mic. Now this is gonna be the transmitter. The transmitter is where all the audio is going into, which is going to transfer to the receiver. So I have a mic here, and the mic actually is fed behind my sweater. So I have the transmitter right here hooked up to my pants. I have the wire, which is feeding through under my jacket, and then I have the mic right here, which there's actually, with this package, if you end up getting this specific mic, which is going to be linked in the description below, you can see that there's going to be two different options for you. There's going to be the love mic, or I think that's what it's called. It's going to be the mic that you can actually clip and feed through your shirt, or you can actually disconnect that wire and then you can add in a dead mouse, I believe it's called. You can add a dead mouse to the top of the mic. You can hold it kind of like a microphone and it'll still pick up great sound. So those are the two options when it comes to this specific mic, and I love it. You can obviously hear the sound and how great the quality is. If you want it, it's linked in the description below. But as long as you do your research, you do your due diligence, and you read through reviews, making sure that the audio that people are saying that the audio of the mic that you're trying to get is good and it's crisp and it's good enough for YouTube, then I would go ahead and invest in that. And it doesn't have to be specifically this mic, it can be any mic. There's also mics that are a little bit more inexpensive than this one that you can purchase, and it may not be as good as quality, but as long as the quality is there and you're able to hear very well and clearly, then that will do its justice by itself. So make sure you invest in your sound first. That's like the number one thing that I recommend, even over a camera, because you can get a camera later, and then you can invest in lighting if you are, especially if you're someone who comes from a city or state that has very inconsistent weather. So maybe one moment it's sunny, then the next moment it's gloomy. If you have that problem, investing in a lighting kit is going to be a lifesaver. Or if you're someone who works during the day and you don't film when the sun's out, then you're gonna have to film at night. And because you don't have the natural sunlight coming in, having a lighting kit is going to be a lifesaver for you as well. So PLS, make sure you have your positioning right, make sure you have your lighting right, and then make sure you have your sound to the best of its ability. Now we're gonna go ahead and import this video into the computer, and I'm going to show you how I organize my projects on my laptop. So in order for you to get your files from your camera to your desktop or your laptop is you're going to need to transfer them. So for me personally, I use an SD card, and I have an SD card slot that goes into my laptop already. So what you can do is take your SD card, put it into your laptop, and then you're going to go ahead and open up the window or Finder. I'm using a MacBook, an Apple product. So you're going to go ahead and open up Finder. If you're on Windows, you're probably going to have to open up like File or something like that. But you're going to go ahead and open it up, and then you're going to find the location of your SD card. So for me, my SD card is called EOS Digital. I'm going to go ahead and open that up, and then I'm going to go ahead and find the files that I'm going to be editing today. So once I find those files, what I'm going to do is there's two different ways that you can transfer your files to your drive. So I personally use Google Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this, and you can see in the background, I use Google Drive. I actually have Google Drive on my desktop. So you can either go online. If you're using Google Drive, you can go online to drive.google.com. And then what you can do is you can open up your project and then just drag and drop the file into that section. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like here. So let's say I have this. I'm going to go ahead and select the file, and then I'm going to drag and drop it, and then it will go ahead and start uploading or importing. So that's one way that you can go about importing your files into your Google Drive. But what I actually do is I have Google Drive installed on my computer. So what that means is if I open up Finder, then you can see here that I have my Google Drive set up so that I can actually directly access my Google Drive through my computer instead of the internet. So I'm going to go ahead and find the files again that I want to go ahead and import. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click my Google Drive that I want to import my videos into. So I'm going to go ahead and right click this one, click on open a new tab, and then I'm going to go ahead and drag this tab out, and I'm going to basically stack it on top of each other. So from here, I will go ahead and open up my drive, find the spot that I want to import my videos in, and then I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop it into that spot. So what will happen is it will import on your computer, but you will also be able to drag it directly from this folder on your computer into your video editing software. So it'll make it easier. It'll already be downloaded on your computer, and it won't take extra time to basically download the video from the internet. So that's going to import. And then what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how I organize my files. So I can show you on here. It's going to be the same way on my desktop version of Google Drive versus my internet version. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you on my internet version. So what I do is I have a YouTube folder. So my YouTube folder consists of 4 different folders. I have my B-roll folder, stock audio, video assets, and video projects. My B-roll folder is going to have all of my B-roll. And what B-roll is basically videos that you cut away to when you're explaining something. So for example, if I'm explaining me like reading and I'm talking to the camera and that's the video that you see, the B-roll could be a video of me actually reading the book. And so it would cut away to that video. So that's an example of B-roll. So I have B-roll for long form videos, which is essentially YouTube. I have B-roll for short form videos, which is essentially shorts, or you can consider Instagram or TikTok to be short form videos. And then I also have stock videos. Stock videos are reenactments by actors and actresses. So if we open this up and then we look at an example, this is an example of stock video. So it's not myself, it's just someone I got off from the internet. So that would be considered stock videos. But I have this B-roll so that when I am editing and I want to go ahead and add in B-roll, I can go directly into this folder, download it, and then add it to my video. So if you go back to my YouTube folder, I have stock audio. So stock audio is basically going to be the music that I use in my video. So sound effects that could include like clicking or typing or pops, swoosh sounds, stuff like that. And then we have background music. So the background music, everything should be licensed, by the way. I don't know why I have two different files for this, but the background music is going to be something that you use in your videos that you would actually want to make sure that you're paying for. So I personally use Epidemic Sound and I use Envato Elements, so you can use one or the other. Epidemic Sound is specifically for music and sound effects, and it has the most amazing soundtracks, so I definitely highly recommend to use them for music. And then Envato Elements would be good for like getting B-roll, and then if you want additional music or sound effects, you can get that here. You also have access to like photos, so if you want to use photos not just for your videos but anywhere with permission, then you can invest in Envato Elements. But for Epidemic Sound, I do have a link down below if you want to check that out. So if I go back to my YouTube folder, I also have video assets. So what that means is I have like my set things, like set graphics that I use in almost every single video, or it's basically my branded graphics. So I have a bumper at the end of my video and I use it for most of my videos. This is what it looks like. All I would have to do is at the end, when I'm done editing my video and I want to add my bumper at the end, I can go ahead and just download it and then add it into my video editing software. I also have like chapter pages. So if I want to write something out like tip number 1, blah, 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 then I can go ahead and download this. And then all I have to do in my video editing software is type in the text and voila. This is something that I used to use. I'm not sure if I don't use it as much now, but it's please like and subscribe to my channel and thank you for your support. I'll add that in some of my videos. And then I have like my YouTube growth roadmap that I will put in a lot of my videos, which if you want to learn how to grow your YouTube, I do have a free roadmap, which you can download in the link below. I have like an iPhone green screen. So anything that I would consider reusable, I will go ahead and add it to my video assets folder. And then my last folder here is going to be my video projects. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And this is where everything is, all of my projects. So typically what I like to do is I would like to right click on new folder. I will type in the number of that video. So right now we're on video number 36. And then I'll type in the title of kind of like, it won't be the exact title, but I'll type in something maybe what the video is about, and then I'll title it later. So how to film and edit your YouTube videos. So I'll create that. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add in everything here. So I can add in my script. If I want to go ahead and create a new script, I'll go ahead and click new and then hit Google Docs. Once I start recording, I can go ahead and add my videos here. If I have audio, I'll add my audio here. So all of the files for this specific project will be within this folder. And then what will happen is I will go ahead and edit the video. Once the video is edited, the final video will also be in here, and then I can schedule that. Once it's scheduled, I will go ahead and click and drag this file to scheduled so that I know that I'm done with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually move this one to trash because I already have one and we're currently working on it. And then anything that I don't want to create anymore, so let's say day in the life of a small content creator, let's say I don't want to create that video anymore, all I have to do is click and drag it to my archive and then it'll disappear. But let's go ahead and undo that. These are all videos kind of in queue that I'm debating on creating videos on. But if I decide I don't want to create a video on it, I will go ahead and just click and drag it into my archive folder. And if I click on archive, you can see there's like a bunch of things that I decided not to go forward with. And then lastly, I have my script outline. So my script outline, basically when you open it up, it's just an outline of what my video should essentially look like or how I should structure it. I will go ahead and just create a copy of my script. So I'll go ahead and right click it, make a copy, and then I'll go ahead and drag and drop that copy into the project, the video project folder that I'm working on. And then I can go ahead and just start using that template, erasing things, adding details in, and then I can use that script when I'm ready to film. And I can also use it as a guideline for when I'm editing. So this is how I organize my folders, and this is going to be the exact same kind of layout on Finder as well. So if I open up Finder and I go to my drive and I open it all the way up to my YouTube folder, it'll look the same. So B-roll, stock audio, video assets, video projects. You can see my projects here. Once I'm done with it, I can click and drag into scheduled, and then we're done. So let's say we've imported the videos that we needed. We're going to go ahead and open up CapCut, and this is what it's going to look like. You don't need to pay for it. You can have the free version. I use the free version and it works perfectly fine. What you're going to do is click on create project. So we're going to create project, and then this is what it's going to look like. You're going to go ahead and click on import, and then you're going to find the folder. At least for me, I have my Google Drive, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my Google Drive folder from here, or you can download the videos you're going to use and simply just drag and drop it into that box in the the left-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and open it up from here, and then I'm going to go ahead and import it. So we're going to hit import, and then we have it right here. So if you decide to drag and drop it from your computer, then you can simply just do that. So we're going to go ahead and follow my PEMDAS acronym. And what that is, we're going to go one by one, but I'm going to lay it all out for you right now. P is for putting videos in order. E is extract extra fluff. M means major key points. D, drop video every 60 seconds. A, add text in between. S, sprinkle. So we're going to use that as we edit our videos, but the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your files are turned into a proxy file. So what you can do to go about that, you can see here it's turning into a proxy file already, but if you don't see it as a proxy file, so what you're going to do is you're going to highlight your files, and then in the right corner or in the right side of CapCut, you're going to hit modify, go to performance. You're going to make sure that your proxy is on, and then you're going to select 720p and hit save. So what proxy is the proxy files are basically a copy of your files, but at a lower capacity. If you edit your files as is without turning them into proxy files, then it could take up more room or more space on CapCut, and what will happen is it may cause your video editing to go slower. So if you turn your video files into a proxy video files, it will edit so much faster, but when you export and you complete your video, it will export using your full videos, your actual raw files, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and click and drag and drop our videos. And we're going to go ahead and hit this button right here. It's going to zoom it out a bit. And then you just want to put your videos in order. So P in PEMDAS is put videos in order. So far, so good. Everything's in order. And then what you want to do is, what I like to do first is I like to adjust my audio, because as you can see, my audio is in the orange peaks. If you see this closely, this is actually the audio levels of your video files. You can see that there's orange peaks, and what that means is that it's too loud, essentially. So what you want to do is you want to lower the volume until there's no orange peaks on any of your files. Sometimes little peaks, like if there's like tiny bit of peaks popping up, that's okay. But you want to make sure that there's like try to get as much of the orange peaks out of the way as possible. What you can do while you are watching your videos or listening to your audio, you can click right here and this will show you your audio levels. So if you were to play this, you can see the audio levels, and I recommend to have it between -6 to -12. I could make this a tiny bit louder, and I actually think that would be fine how it is. So once you've adjusted your audio, you're going to go ahead and move on to the next step of PEMDAS, which is E, extract extra fluff. So what I like to do is I like to zoom in on my files or on my timeline, and then I will delete any major parts that have no audio, because essentially that means I don't have anything I'm talking about during that moment. Maybe I've paused to read my script. Maybe I've got up to do something. So where there's no peaks, no frequency of audio, that means that there's something going on where I'm not talking. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those parts. What you can do is you can actually click this button right here and then hit split. And then we're going to go ahead and basically just cut it up. Cut it where we see I'm not talking. Then we're going to go ahead and go back and hit select, and we're going to delete those empty parts. And you can do the same thing over and over again until you realize that none of your video is muted, or there's no parts of your video where you're not talking or doing anything important. So we're gonna go ahead and split this part and then select it and backspace or hit delete, and then it'll delete it. So let's say this is what we want. This looks good. What you can do is you can actually go through your video, and if you visually know the parts that you don't want in your video, you can simply just scroll through and watch yourself. And then if there's any parts where you know, oh, okay, I don't want that part in there, you know, visually, maybe you're doing something or you got distracted, all you have to do is cut it up by clicking here, hitting split, cut it up, and then you're gonna go back and then delete it. So let's say we don't want this part here. Okay, so we've extracted all the fluff, and then what you can do here in this step is you can watch through your video and then see if there's anything that you're saying that's repetitive, anything that you're saying that you don't want in there anymore. Maybe something doesn't make sense. Go ahead and extract and delete that stuff by just cutting it up, clicking on it, and then deleting it. Now, the next step of the process is major key points. And what that means is I personally, you don't have to do this, but I personally like to add in title pages for my major key points. And so I'm going to go ahead and open up Finder. I'm going to go to my video assets, and then I'm going to find my chapter pages. My chapter pages are what I use to basically create title pages. So I'm going to use this one. I'm going to click and drag it to CapCut, and it's added in. Now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pretend like there's major key points in certain parts of the video. I'm going to go ahead and just cut it up a bit. You actually want to know where your key points are, of course, but for the sake of like editing this video or putting this video together, we're just gonna act like we edited a bunch of stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and add in our title page in the correct spots. What you want to do is when you drag it in, you want it to be on top of your video. So while you're talking, it'll go to your title page, but you're still talking. If you were to put it in your timeline with your video, what will happen is you won't be talking anymore, but it'll show the title page. So it depends on what you want. But me personally, while I'm stating my point, maybe I'm like, for tip 1, this is what you're going to do. I want the title page to be there, and I want it to be read out loud. So you also want to make sure that your video fits the screen. If you look closely, you can see that it doesn't fit. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it out so it fits, and perfect. So now to add text, I'm going to go ahead and make sure my white line here, this is kind of like it shows what frame you're at. So we're going to put it at the beginning of our chapter page. We're going to go ahead and select text at the top, and then we're going to go ahead and click on the plus sign, add to track. So the text will always show above your timeline. What I'm going to do is just click and drag it out so it's the same length as my chapter page. And then I'm going to click on the text. In the top right corner, I'm going to change it to what I want it to say. So say tip number 1, be kind. I'm just going to put something random. You can also customize it. So if I want it to look like this, I can do that. You can go through this entire right-hand panel and you can mess around with the settings. Mess around with it, see what you like. Maybe you want it to be thinner. Maybe you want it to be smaller. Maybe you want it to be a different color. So it's all to you. It's all preference at the end of the day. But let's say we want it to be like this. So be kind. We're going to go ahead and add the title page in other areas. We can use the same exact title page background. So what you can do is click on it, and then I'm going to right click it and then click on copy, and then find the sections of your video where there's other major key points, right click it and hit paste. So let's say there's going to be 3 major key points. And what I like to do for consistency, so the text is always the same style, same size, same whatever, I'm going to right click the text, copy it, and then I'm going to paste it on top of the next chapter page title. And then I'm going to go ahead and just change what it says. So tip number 2, be bold. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. So right click, paste. Tip number 3, be smart. Okay, so tip number 1, be kind. Tip number 2, be bold. And tip number 3, be smart. Perfect. So now that we've added in our major key points, the next step of the process is to drop video every 60 seconds. So you don't have to do this step, but I think it adds in a little bit more visual appeal to your videos. So it's not just you talking the entire time. What will make it a little bit more interesting is if you drop a video every 60 seconds. So if you go through a video, we can actually see in the top of the timeline, the second mark. So right here, this will be 60 seconds, but I think that'll be a little bit too close to tip number 2. So I'm just gonna put it maybe like 55 or 50, but we'll do like 55-ish. So this is where you can use B-roll or stock video. So if we go here to your folder, you're gonna go ahead and select B-roll, and then you can do B-roll for long form, or I can do stock video. So let's say I wanna add in stock videos. All you have to do is make sure that your CapCut has import selected. If you try to drag and drop files while it's on a different button, it's not going to work. So make sure you have import selected and it's highlighted in blue. And then you're going to go ahead and drag and drop the files that you want. So let's see, we're just going to add in random ones. So every 60 seconds-ish, around that mark, we're going to go ahead and add in our B-roll. So your B-roll is going to go on top of your video because, again, you want to be talking while the B-roll is playing. And then let's see, at the 2-minute mark. And then I'm going to shorten it. I don't want to be too long, so I would say like let it play for like maybe like 3 seconds. We're going to go to the 3-minute mark, add in one. 4-minute mark. And your videos are obviously probably going to relate to what you're saying, but for the sake of time on this video, I'm just adding in random videos. But obviously you want to be sure that it matches what you're saying. It's like 6 minutes in. And then we're gonna add in more. So let's find more stock videos. And again, you can use, so pexels.com is a free version of getting stock videos and stock photos. You can use that. And you can also use Envato Elements, which I showed you at the beginning of this video. Envato Elements has so many options, and I definitely recommend it, but either or. Okay, add this in, shorten it at the next 60-second mark, so 8 minutes. Add this, shorten it, 9 minutes, add this in and shorten it. Okay, so if we were to click on this button right here and zoom out, we can see that about every 60 seconds there is something happening. We have our title pages in, which actually we're gonna go ahead and move them because of their location. Okay, so we have 3 key points. We can see where the key points are by the text, and then we see about every 60 seconds we have something visually different is happening where B-roll comes in. So we dropped a video every 60 seconds. Now the next step of the acronym of PEMDAS is to add text in between. And so what I like to do is I like to go in between every major thing. So whether if it's the title page or the B-roll, I like to go in between, and then I like to highlight something that I'm saying. So like, let's say right here. So right here, I'm gonna go ahead and click there because I'm saying how to record an entire video. I'm going to select text, and then I'm going to insert text. So I'm gonna highlight what I'm saying. How to record, or I'll make it all lowercase, how to record an entire video change the size, and I'm just gonna let it pop up. And then I'm gonna go right here and see if there's anything I can highlight here. So what I can do here is right click it, copy, and then paste over here. Like and subscribe to my channel. And then if I want to customize it and make it different, I can. So let's say if I wanted to change this to like this or this, make it smaller, and then bring it down. And then we're gonna go ahead and go to right in between here. So I'm gonna find somewhere maybe I can add more text. So maybe right here, we're gonna go ahead and right click and paste. I'm gonna go ahead and type in dating, just to emphasize what I'm saying. It doesn't even have to be like a major key point or anything. Maybe you just want to emphasize something that you're saying. So dating. And then I'm going to go in between these two, see if I say anything significant here that I can highlight. So I'm going to go ahead and paste the text and then type in video podcasts. And then I'll paste one right here. Include someone in the conversation. And then I can adjust the duration as well. And so that's, hopefully you get the point here, but basically throughout the rest of the video, you're gonna go in between the major key points and the B-roll, and you're gonna go ahead and add in text emphasizing something you're saying. It doesn't have to be a significant thing that you're saying in a video, but it could be just something simple that you're highlighting. Like as you can see, I highlighted me saying dating, like a dating coach. And then over here, I highlighted video podcasts and include someone in the conversation. The reason being is for the video every 60 seconds, you are adding in something visually different from the rest of the video. So I could be talking the entire time, and that's fine. You can talk the entire time if you like. But just to give, the viewer something visually to take a break from just watching you talk the entire time, adding in small clips of videos can help. And then also adding in these words that highlight what you're saying can also enhance the attention span of your viewer. So that's the importance of dropping a video every 60 seconds and then adding text right in between. And then, so let's say we went in and we've added text throughout every single part of the video that we needed. So right in between each video. So we're gonna pretend like this text is different, even though we can clearly say it says like and subscribe, but we're just gonna go ahead and add it in just so you can see on the timeline that this is what it looks like. So if you were to do it according to the PEMDAS steps, you can see that this is what the timeline would look like. And then we're gonna go ahead and move on to the very last step, which is sprinkle. So let's say you've spent so much time editing on your video and you're over it. At this point, you're more than welcome to export your video and move on. And how to export is you're gonna go ahead and click on export, and then you're gonna go ahead and rename it. Make sure you export it to a file that you're going to find it in. So make sure it's the right file. You're going to change the resolution according to what you recorded with. The bitrate, just put recommended. Codec, I put H.264. Format, MOV. And then frame rate, I put 24 FPS. You're going to go ahead and export, and then it'll export into the file that you selected up here. So you can export your video at this point, but if you wanted to go into the sprinkle step, this is going to be basically, to me, in my opinion, this is the fun part. This is where you will add music. This is where you'll add in the sound effects to like the pop-up text. This is where you're going to add in all the creative touches that you'd like. So if you want to add in zooms, if you want to add in a bumper at the end, I'll show you some examples. So let's say I go to stock audio, I'll go to the music here. I'm gonna go ahead and drag and drop the music. And then what else do I want to add? I'm gonna go to video assets. I'm gonna go ahead and add in like my bumper or something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and add in like my like and subscribe button, where I'm telling people to to subscribe. And then maybe I want to add in my YouTube growth roadmap. So now that we have that stuff, we're gonna go ahead and add in my music. So all you have to do is drag and drop it to the bottom of your timeline. You can see there's so many orange peaks. I highly recommend to start at negative 25 dB, and then you can adjust the audio as you watch your video. If you listen to your video and the music's too loud, increase it. If it's too low, decrease it. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to shorten the audio here, and then I'm actually going to cut the beginning because it's just a gap of nothing. So I'm gonna go ahead and shorten it. I'm gonna copy it, and then I'm just going to paste it throughout the rest of the timeline. If it goes past the video, all you have to do is just shorten it here so it's even. And so we have our music. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add our bumper. So what I could do is I created my own bumper with the green screen. I'm gonna go ahead and click on it and drag it and put it over here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and make sure this white line is over my bumper. I'm going to, let's zoom in so you can see. Okay, what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to select split, and then where the bumper ends, I'm gonna go ahead and cut my video. So I'm gonna hover over my video and click it so I can split it, and then go back, and then make sure it goes all the way to the end. And then so what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to click on my bumper graphic. I'm going to hit remove BG in the top right corner. I'm going to select chroma key. I'm going to click right here. I'm going to select the green. You can change the intensity, but this is fine right here. And then I'm going to click on my video, and on the preview screen, I'm going to drag myself this way. So you can see my bumper, that you can see myself, but I also think it's too zoomed in, so I can also select the video, and then in the corners of that video, I can drag it down so that it's smaller and it fits a little bit better. So then if I were to watch it, so then that would be the bumper and the ending. And then if I want to add in sound effects, I can go ahead and do that. But once you're done with your video, your video timeline on CapCut is pretty much gonna look like this. You're gonna see basically 4 different lines, maybe 5, but 4 different lines. You're gonna have your music, you're gonna have your main video, you're gonna have all of your B-roll and all of your graphics that you've added in. So the background of your major key points page, maybe if you wanna add in photos or add in, I don't know, specific graphics. And then the top timeline will be all of your text. So once you're done with your video, again, you're gonna hit export. You're gonna go ahead and rename it. You're gonna find the folder that you want to download it to. Make sure you know where it's at so that when you're trying to upload it, you're able to find it easily. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the right folder, and then I'm gonna hit open. Then make sure the settings are right, which looks good, and then hit export. Once it's done exporting, it's going to automatically play. And then you're done. If you found this video helpful, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel, and then you're more than welcome to click on the video on the screen, and I will see you there. Bye.